The next type of sentence is an interrogative sentence. This is a type of sentence that asks a question. An interrogative sentence is going to be followed by a question mark, or it could actually be followed by a question mark and an exclamation point. The times that you would use this would be, say you're asking a question, but it has a lot of emotion, you could actually use both. But if you use both, you want to make sure that the question comes first, because it is a question, but it was said with some emotion. Now, an interrogative sentence should be read with some uncertainty, because most of the time you're making an inquiry or asking a question. An interrogative sentence has an inverted sentence structure. The declarative sentence had what we would call a normal sentence structure because it's arranged in a certain way. We have the subject near the beginning with the verb shortly to follow. Inverted should be a term that you actually would encounter in math. It would basically mean kind of flipped, rearranged in the different order. So just like that, an interrogative sentence is going to have kind of a mixed up word order. So the subject of the sentence is not going to be located at the very beginning of the sentence, and the verb is not going to directly follow the subject. An interrogative sentence may begin with a helping verb that may be part of a verb phrase, and then the subject is going to interrupt the verb phrase. So that's one way you can identify an interrogative sentence. If you see a helping verb like do or will or can, that's going to be an interrogative sentence usually. So for example, do you have your language arts binder? Do is a helping verb, you is your subject, and then have is the other part of the verb. So you see it's inverted. You don't have subject and then verb, you have the subject interrupting the verb phrase do have. The second one, have you completed your bell ringer? Again, have is a helping verb, you is our subject, and completed is our main verb. So again, we have helping verb, subject, and then main verb, again for that inverted word order. And number 3, are you in La La Land? Here actually, we just have the verb, there's only one verb, and then we have the subject, so obviously it's flipped. And then, will you please return to Leonard Land from La La Land? Will is our helping verb, you is our subject, and then return would actually be our verb. Please is just actually a little adverb there thrown in. So again, in all 3 of these examples, we have the verb coming first, and then the subject, and then there might be the main verb following the subject. So you often see verb, subject, verb format for your inverted word order. Now, an interrogative sentence can also be identified another way. It may begin with what I like to call a 5W how word. Do you think you can name the 5W how words? They are who, what, when, where, why, and how. So if you see a sentence begin with one of these words, you should automatically know that it's going to be an interrogative sentence because these are question words or the 5W how words. Some examples. Let's say somebody abducted your child. You might say, who are you? What have you done? Or maybe they abduct you. Where am I? When is the ransom due? Why are you doing this to me? How do you sleep at night? Notice the use of the 5W how words to question the person that is being mean to you, that has abducted your child. Now, another characteristic of an interrogative sentence is going to be inflected when it's read. And what we mean inflected, what part of it is going to be the last word or syllable. So let's say you don't know what the word inflected means. Well, an inflection is a raise in pitch. That means how high your voice is. So if you read a sentence and it goes up at the end, then it's going to be inflected. So some examples. There's a little picture here. We'll do one of our examples with it. I might say, a student answers, and I might say, are you sure about that? Notice when my voice goes up, it shows doubt or uncertainty. Or, Will you go to the dance with me? Again, asking the question. Or, can no one answer my question? So again, when you go up, it shows that a question is being asked. So inflection is going to be one of the characteristics of an interrogative sentence. All right, so some overall examples. What is your favorite type of candy? Notice here we begin with a WH word, and then we have the is to follow. So we don't have the subject coming first. We have kind of have a WH word and then is, and then actually the subject of this sentence would be type. It's actually near the end. Your favorite type of candy is what? Is how you kind of reorder it to find your subject. So you kind of have that inverted word order here. Or I might say, use the interjection, huh? What did you say? Again, notice we begin with a WH word, and then we have a helping verb did, and then your subject you, and then say. So you've got verb, subject, verb. And then, do you have practice this afternoon? Being asked. Again, notice beginning with the helping verb, and then subject, and then main verb, and then again, notice the inflection of the question. And then lastly, what in the world are you doing? Yelled my big sister. So again, we have a WH word at the beginning. Now notice here our subject and verb are near the end, but we also have the helping verb are, subject you, and then doing would be your main verb. And then notice here the use of the question mark exclamation point for the question that's being asked with some emphasis. And lastly, the exclamatory sentence is going to make an exclamation. So an exclamatory sentence is going to be followed by an exclamation point. And of course, an exclamatory sentence should be read with some emotion. Some exclamatory sentences are basically declarative sentences with some strong emotion. Now, those type of sentences are going to follow just normal, regular sentence structure or word order. So, for example, if I said, "You scared me," "I love you so much," or "My husband won the election." Notice here, if you'll look, the sentence begins with the subject, like you or I or husband, and then usually the next word or very close to it is going to be the verb, scared, love, won. So we have subject, verb. That's your typical sentence structure. Now, some exclamatory sentences are going to have an inverted sentence structure. Remember, that means not normal, maybe mixed up word order. So this structure is used for emphasis. That's the purpose. So some examples. How sweet it is to be loved by you. Okay, so notice the subject is actually it and the verb is, and then if you were to rearrange it, you'd say it is so sweet. It is how sweet to be loved by you. But we did it to emphasize sweet. So that's the reason it was done, to express just how sweet through your emotions. If I said, ready or not, here I come. Again, I've started the sentence a little differently. To actually find the subject and verb, you have to look towards the end. The subject would be I, the verb would be come, but again, we're trying to emphasize that, so we rearranged it and said, here I come. And then lastly, there is a tornado coming this way. So again, if we were to rearrange, the subject of this sentence is the tornado, but we're trying to emphasize it, so we put it a little later in the sentence. So we have the verb coming and then the subject. So overall examples of exclamatory sentences. I could say, I miss playing soccer. This is going to be a normal declarative sentence, but it's saying with some emotion. So when I say I have the subject and I have the verb, but I'm saying it with some emotion, it's going to follow the normal word order there because I'm saying it with some emotion. Another example, if I put a little interjection at the beginning, I say, ah, you scared me to death. So again, notice the sentence, we got you as our subject, and the verb comes right after it, but because we're saying it with some emotion, we're going to put the exclamatory mark at the end. And then Ding dong, the witch is gone, sang the munchkins. We have ding dong, which is an onomatopoeia that kind of adds some feeling and some excitement. And then we say the witch is gone. That's normal subject, verb, word order. But then for number 4, if I said, how sweet it is to be loved by you, we've rearranged the order so that the subject and verb may not be near the beginning, or they may be rearranged, but they're trying to emphasize something. And so those are also some examples of exclamatory sentences. So let's see if we've accomplished our learning targets. I can recall terms, facts, and probably some rules associated with the types of sentences based on purposes. I can recall terms, facts, I can recall terms and facts associated with the types of sentences based on purpose. I can classify sentences based on their purpose. So if I gave you a sentence and said, what type of sentence is this, you should be able to tell me. And then the end goal is I can vary sentence structure effectively by incorporating different types of sentences based on purpose into my writing. So now that we know those terms and those rules, the types of sentences and some facts about them, well, now we should be able to use the different types in our writing, and that's going to make our writing much more interesting because you won't have the same type over and over again, and it'll give the writer give the reader something to keep their attention, and so it's not the same thing over and over again. So again, thank you for your listening today and on writing lesson number 3.